Okay, we're going to talk about the circumference of a circle and how to find it. So I don't actually own a calculator. I own my cell phone and I'm recording on my cell phone, so I can't actually show you how to type in the buttons on a calculator. So here's the tricky thing. With circumference, we're trying to find the distance around the circle. And we can find the distance around the circle by measuring. Like, that's one way. We could take, like, let's say a piece of string. We could lay the piece of string over the circle and then take the piece of string and then lay it against the ruler, and then we could find out the circumference that way. But let's say we don't own a ruler or string, but we happen to know, for some reason, the radius. So we happen to know the distance between the center of the circle and the outside of the circle. We have a formula that we can use, and the formula is C, so that stands for circumference, equals 2 times pi times r. We're not going to get into what pi is today, but it's basically, the short form is 3.14. It's this number that literally goes on forever and ever. It's still going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply. We're going to take this apart, because when it's squished in together, that means multiply. But when we go to put in numbers, we don't want to just have random numbers squished together without remembering that we have to multiply. So I'm going to kind of expand this. So all I've done is I've taken 2 pi r and I put in multiply signs in the middle, so that way it just kind of stretches it out. It's easier to see. So circumference still equals, to find circumference, we have to go 2 times pi times r. So circumference equals 2 times, and now I'm going to replace pi with 3.14. Now, on nicer, more expensive calculators, they actually have a pi button. But for those of us poor folk who don't have a pi button, we have to just type in 3.14. And then we're going to multiply by the radius. In this case, our radius happens to be 3. So we've done 2 times 3.14 is 6.28. Okay, so that's 2 times 3.14 is 6.28. That's why this is here. I haven't yet dealt with my times 3. That's why this is down here now. So now I'm going to go, my circumference is still, I'm going to multiply 6.28 times 3. My answer is going to be circumference equals 18.84. Let me show you another example on a smaller whiteboard with a bigger radius. So it's the exact same formula, but now I'm saying that my radius is bigger, okay? So my circumference equals 2 times pi times r. I'm replacing my r with the number 5. That's where this came from, okay? Because over here is my 5. It's like plugging it in. My 5 is going to take the place of the r. Pi is going to take the place of, or 3.14 is going to take the place of the pi symbol. So it's 2 times 3.14 times 5. So all I've done is I've replaced these placeholders with the actual numbers that I need. This time now I'm multiplying on the right-hand side, just to show you guys that it doesn't actually really matter if I multiply on the right or on the left. So then I'm going to go, so 3.14 times 5 is 15.7. That's where this number came from, okay, the 15.7. But I haven't dealt with the 2 yet, so this is why it's right here. So now I'm going to go 2 times 15.7, and my answer is 31.4. So that is how we find the circumference of a circle. Okay, let's take a look at how we find the area of a circle. So when we're trying to find the area of the circle, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find out how much space is in the walls of the circle. And it was so much easier in the good old days of rectangles, when you're just like A times B, one side times the other side. But in theory, there's actually really only one side on this whole circle. So we can't use that formula. So we have to use a different formula. And this formula is much harder. So before I can actually explain the formula, I have to explain to you what it means when we say that something is squared. So when we have something that is squared, you're going to see a little teeny tiny number 2 at the top. It does not mean that you multiply the big number by the 2. It means that you multiply the big number by itself. So if you see, for example, a 2, like a big 2 with a little 2, that's saying that 2 needs to be squared. That means that you need to multiply 2 by itself. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. Even if I did big 2 times little 2, it's still going to be 4. So you're like, I don't trust you yet. But watch this. Big 3, little 2. What I'm saying is I have to multiply 3 by itself, not 3 by 2, 3 by itself. 3 times 3 is 9. So 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is, again, it's not 4 times 2, it's 4 times itself. So then it's like 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So 4 squared is 16. 5 times itself, so 5 squared, 5 times 5 is 25. So 5 squared is 25. So up here, our formula for finding area. Okay, so let's carry on with our formula. So to do the formula, the big A is saying area equals pi times the radius that is squared by itself. So to find the area, I'm going to take pi and I'm going to just expand this, okay? Because to me it's confusing to see pi squished in so close to the letter r. So that's why I've just simply put in a multiplication sign in between pi and the radius. I'm going to take the pi symbol and I'm going to replace it by 3.14. I'm going to take the radius and I'm going to replace it with the number 3. Because in my drawing, the drawing is saying that the radius is number 3. Then I'm going to have my area, and it's saying that area is 3.14 times 9, because what I had to do is I had to take 3 and multiply it by itself. I had to square the number 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. So my area is 3.14 times 9. So now I'm going to go 3.14 times 9. My area is 28.26. Again, I don't own a calculator. I use my cell phone's calculator, and I'm filming on my cell phone. So that's why I can't show you like how to press in the buttons, but you just press in 3.14 times 9. If you have one of those expensive calculators where you just have the pi button, you can just go pi times, and it'll do that for you. So let's look at one other example. So that's why this is already done for you. The math is already here so you can see it. Otherwise, that'd be kind of frustrating if I was like, just do this, and then I didn't show you. So again, to find the area of the circle, we have to use the radius, and we have to use pi. But to me, this looks confusing when I see pi squished so close to the r, and then it's squared, and it's like, I don't know, what do we do? So my first step is I say just expand it, put in a multiplication symbol in the middle so that you know that you got to multiply that. So my area is now, I'm replacing the pi symbol by 3.14. I'm replacing my r with the number that's from the circle, the number that was given to me, which is my radius, so it's 4. Now I'm going to square 4. That I'm not multiplying 4 times 2, I'm multiplying 4 by itself. So 4 times 4 is 16. That's where the 16 came from. The 3.14 I'm just carrying down to here, and now I'm actually going to multiply. 3.14 times 16, the answer is area equals 50.24. And again, what you'd probably want to do is have it, like let's say I'm measuring in centimeters, you'd want to have like centimeters squared, just in that way you know that it's area that you're measuring. So there we are. Good luck.